Hello and welcome to, do you believe it, the Lawrence County football show on NCTV45. And here we are. Unbelievable. Everybody had their scrimmage last week, and this is the week 0. This is when it's a game, but it's not a game, but if you win, it makes you feel good. And wow. So we're going to cover everybody in the county. We're going to start in the north with Wilmington. And, the Greyhounds, they've become a perennial power. They, anytime they take the field, you expect them to win. And what a great program out there. Now, here's how it shapes up, and we'll take a look at this week's game after, well, let me give you a look at how this week's game. Wilmington varsity football will take on Farrell, and this is a non-conference game, and you might recall last year the Steelers upset the Greyhounds in that very first game. So this will be interesting as you look at it and kind of go forward. This is a great tune-up for the Greyhounds. Now, what's their schedule look like? Well, as you take a look, and they're a perennial power, they will then, and this game will be on the 30th, so the week of the 23rd, and excuse me, the Greyhounds not playing. I want you to understand, they don't play until the 30th. Now, the 6th of September, they'll be at Northwestern. Should be a win for the Greyhounds. We'll take a look. And on the 13th at Lakeview. They have Conneaut, Ohio at home. And if you remember last year, that was a tie. Then they'll take on Greenville on the 27th. The 4th of October, Iroquois. Sharpsville, which is always a rivalry. And then on the 18th, they'll take on Hickory. So that gives you some idea about the Wilmington Greyhounds, and just a great program up there in Wilmington. And I encourage you to get out and go to these high school football games. You'll see some great football. And now we want to get to the Neshannock Lancers. Now, I had the opportunity through 7-on-7s to really take a look at the Lancers and see them. The Lancers not too shabby. As when we look at their schedule, and I'm saying this based on the 7-on-7s that we've seen. Now, the Lancers also will go up against Riverside on the 30th. Now, you might recall last year, the Lancers got stung by Riverside. And so Neshannock looking to get some home cooking and get out in front. Then the Mohawk Warriors, little crosstown rivalry, days from the old Tri-County, will come across to take on, and that'll be out in Bessemer. So it'll be an in-county away game Then the Lancers on the 13th will travel to Lincoln in Elwood City. They'll come home to take on Shadyside Academy. On the 20th, have two away games, which will be New Brighton on the 27th, Fort Jerry on the 4th. Then it's two home games with Freedom and Western Beaver, and the game that always seems to be a rivalry for Neshannock. It's the Neshannock and Shenango. That game at Neshannock High or at Shenango High School, and the Wildcats would love to hand the Lancers a loss. So that'll be an important game, and Neshannock looks like this could be a decent year for the Lancers. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, next up, and we'll take you through these. We'll go west to Union area, and hats off to Stacy, who always has the Scotties in a position where, hey, they're trying to do something, they're going to win. And the Scotties schedule looks like this. On 30th, they'll be taking on Cornell, at Cornell. And then on the 6th, they'll go to Rocks. Two tough games right off the bat. The Scotties will find themselves home against the Gate the 13th, and at Rochester. Homecoming September 27th, and then it's some time. And then at March 8th, I have a question as to that actually. Laurel, the big game. He's in the Spartans. Big rival. Michael, the 11th. We were asked the Scotties do take Michael for 11th, and they'll Lady of Sacred Heart close out home again, and we all what was that is look at what the
Alley's Upper Crust at 1700 Highland Avenue has a full menu: pizza, roll-ups, salad, soup, sandwiches, strombolis, dinners. They are just great for dine-in or take-out. Don't forget to give them a call at 724-652-7553. It's Alley's Upper Crust.
Tuscany Square Restaurant, 3470 Wilmington Road, where old world charm meets today's modern conveniences. You'll enjoy their spacious, comfortable seating.
Hi friends, I'm Gary West, and whether you find Augustine's Pizza at your local grocery store, the folks at Augustine's Pizza hope that their pizza is always your first choice for any and all occasions.
Welcome back, and time to look at the Mohawk Warriors. The Mohawk Warriors, great season last year as they started off gangbusters. Well, this year, here's how it looks. They'll be opening up with New Brighton, and that'll be at home. So a favorable start, and then they will travel to Neshannock. Neshannock, once again, I'll tell you, be looking for some revenge, as last year the Warriors were tough on them. Then Freedom, and Freedom was one of those teams last year that just kept winning. It'll be interesting to see what happens to them this year. After Freedom on the 20th of September, it's Western Beaver. Then the Mohawk Warriors travel to Shenango. That one of those old Tri-County rivalries, followed by, on the 4th of October, Riverside. Now, they'll play Burgettstown on the 11th of October, and Burgettstown and Riverside, both home games. Then they'll travel to Elwood City to take on Lincoln, and on the 25th, they'll be taking on Summit Academy. And that should be an interesting time, as wondering what will be in store for Mohawk after a great year last year. Now, as we shift kind of areas, and let's take a look at the Laurel Spartans. And Laurel, a traditional power, and you know, they never seemed to get on track last year after the injury that they had to their players, and we wish them the best as they go forward. Now, the Laurel Spartans will open up with the Rochester Rams, and the Rochester always fielding a decent, real good team, and this will be Friday the 30th. Now, here's how the schedule looks for the Laurel Spartans. After a game with Rochester, they'll take on Bishop Canevin. Then they'll have a home game on the 13th against California. Now, you might notice that, wow, these games are really spread. And I really like, I think there has to be some addressing this at the time when WPL does their realignment and schedule change. So it's Rochester on the 30th, Bishop Canevin on the 6th, the 13th, California, at Laurel. So after those two away games, then they will go at Bell Vernon. And I kind of wonder who dreamt that up, because they're at Bell Vernon and at Clairton, two very capable football teams, always with a good program, and that'll be kind of tough for the Spartans. They'll return home to play Sacred Heart and then the Union Scotties on the 4th of October. Union Laurel, always a big rivalry. The 11th, they'll take on Cornell, and the 18th of October, it's Stowe Rocks and Northgate. When they get home to play Union, they only have one away game in October, which should be very interesting for the Laurel Spartans. Now, let's take another look at a local team, and that being the Shenango Wildcats. Now, as you recall, Shenango, a tough year last year, and very, very difficult, as the Wildcats really, and let's see if I get some There we go. Ability to bring that up on my teleprompter. Now, the Wildcats, a really difficult year last year, and as everybody kind of had one of those seasons where there were a lot of upsets, and particularly in schedule in this division to play. Rest them as they're going to open up with Freedom. Freedom won like gangbusters, and they'll be home to Western Beaver, at Sierra Catholic, come home to Riverside, home to Mohawk. Now, Riverside, Mohawk, at Link, El City, all rival from the point that all Tri and Link very close. On the they'll take on, and that will be at Shenango. They will then play New Brighton and come home for
The Cedars Restaurant in Newcastle wants you to indulge in the food from their pleasing menu. The Cedars features Mediterranean, pub food, Middle Eastern cuisine, and so much more. They're open every day, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Call the Cedars on the east side at 827 Addis Street, Newcastle. If you're craving hot dogs and more, and you're in the area, then look no farther than Coney Island, downtown Newcastle on Kennedy Square. The Crane Room is a restaurant. The Crane Room is a bar. The Crane Room is a banquet facility. The restaurant will please you time after time with their diverse menu. Ask about their daily specials. See the menu at craneroom.com. The bar gives you an abundance of choices with 35 beers on tap and always changing. Their banquet services are always to perfection. The Crane Room, located at 3009 Wilmington Road in Neshannock Township. Call 724-656-1553.
Welcome back, and let's talk about Elwood City, Lincoln. The Wolverines, they're in one of those situations where they're embattled from both sides, the north and the south. They're going to open up on the 30th with Sierra Catholic. Now, after that, when they get into September, they'll be taking on New Brighton, followed by Neshannock, both of those being home games. They'll go at Freedom, which will be a big game and a rivalry, as that's in that Beaver Valley area. And every game for Lincoln is either a rivalry to the north or a rivalry to the south. So they go at Freedom on the 20th. Then it's Western Beaver at home, and then starts the northern tier of the rivalry, where they hit Shenango. They go at Riverside, which is huge for them down there. That's almost like, it would be like a Union Mohawk, Shenango Laurel game where it's just so close, it's huge. And after the Riverside game, they will then travel to Bessemer to take on Mohawk, and then it's at Brentwood down at Brentwood. It will be an interesting year for Elwood City Lincoln as they try to improve upon last year's schedule and see what they can do to advance the program and kind of come into their own. Now, it's time, and yes, I know you've been waiting. It's the Newcastle Red Hurricane, and always in a very competitive if you would, conference. Now, Newcastle, and I've noticed on this, they didn't put on the week 0 teams. Newcastle will be at Shaler in week 0. Then on the 30th, they'll take on Montour. Now, Montour, the game against Shaler will be a good warm-up for Montour, as the Canes, in their scrimmage against Grove City, really, Grove City, such a young team, didn't really see anything. The Montour game at Taggart Stadium, the Canes will like being home for that. And then the Quad A class, which I would say is South Fayette, always tough, throwing the ball everywhere, and that's down at South Fayette. The Canes will return home to take on Beaver and look to correct last year's mistakes against Beaver and really beat up on the Bobcats. That game really cost the Canes in the playoff situation. Now, they'll take on West Mifflin, a team they beat. They came in second, lived up the hill. Now, if you remember, that was the rain game down in West Mifflin, and it stormed. Then, on the 27th, at South Park, and buckle up, because that's a trip. And hopefully they don't have all the construction on Route 51. I have no idea. They're really going to have to look at these schedules and travel, because the schools are putting a real burden on them. Canes beat South Park last year, and this will be down at South Park. Canes come home to take on Blairsville. Now, once again, for Blairsville, this is going to be a travel time. And then, and I will use the term arch rival Blackhawks. You know, with Elmwood City not in the same conference, and in the inter-county game, Blackhawks has taken that place, and the next running back will look to do the game again. After the COG game, we'll go road to North, the road, 11th to the 8th of the week. And then road against the 804 night. And gives you an idea of schedule. We'll see how it goes in what to look for. This was the Lawrence County